Beautiful. Hello, everybody. All right, let me share my screen. So today we're going to go over purchases. I'm just going to do the simple ones, and I'm going to be starting them with some POs. So to create a PO, I've already created some ahead of time. I've created a simple one, and then I've created basically a stock order, which has got multiple quantities. I'm going to be using serial numbers in these POs as well. So to get started with a new PO, you need to go into your purchases and then into your purchase orders. And then you just need to hit a new button up there to start a new one. Now, this is just creating a PO. If you did want to create a back order PO, you would first need to go and go to those orders and create the back orders from those orders or from the sales invoices. And then, you need to go into the same section I just went into to find those POs. But to start a new one, you just need to get a supplier in here. So if we'll choose Whirlpool, for instance. So I got a Whirlpool supplier, and then we do need to select on which warehouse that we want all these items to go into. We do have the option to send this PO as an email to the supplier if you want to, or you can set up an email format in the back end on your business location. And upon saving this PO, it will get sent automatically to your supplier. You scroll even down further. Here is where you would start adding your items. So we have a couple different ways we can start adding our items. We can scan the barcodes that the items have on them. These can be barcodes that the manufacturers have with their stickers on the boxes, or it could be stickers that we've created as sticker designs in AltheaSuite and then scan them as needed. The other way is to start typing in, partial model numbers. I think I have any of these. You can see that some of these will also populate there. The other way is to click into the little middle button here. Let me zoom in really quick. So this middle button right here is called our browse button. If you click into this will let you go into your item manager. And then from the item manager, you do have a good visibility for all of your items. So if I go into my little search filter up there and then look at all of my Whirlpool brands, all the way at the bottom, I could have also searched for this as well and it would have populated. And then from here, I have my multi-select selected so I can go and select all the items I want to order. Once we press OK, they're all going to get added into there. And then it's up to me really on the PO side if you want to add the unit prices in here. Some people will wait until they'll convert this purchase order into a purchase document to put their final prices on here, but it's completely doable if you want to add them here as well, if you know them ahead of time. Now from here, you do need to say how much quantity you're trying to receive in here. So if you're receiving more than one, let's say we're receiving 5 of these, maybe 3 of these, and so on. And if I scroll to the right even further, I can give each one of these lines lead days. So if I know that this, what does this say, dishwasher? If I know this dishwasher has got like 3 lead days on it from the time of ordering, the expected delivery date on the line item will also change. You can also change these independently, or you can change them all the way at the top of the document to give them everything the expected delivery date for the same date. Now, scrolling over even further to the right, we have the column right here. This is your effective rate per unit. This is pretty much your landed cost. So right now, everything's pretty much staying the same, but there is a section that we can plug into to add any additional costs. These could be like freight charges, it could be, fuel charges or any kind of charges that are attached to those purchases that you guys get. At any rate, if you're ready to complete this PO, you just need to scroll all the way down to the bottom and either hit save or save and print. They do the same thing, except this one will give you just a printout of copy of your PO. Once the PO is saved, it's going to be pretty much at the top of your page because the PO date goes in ascending order there. And then your PO status is always going to be pending until you do something with it. By that, I mean, if you go to the context menu right over here off that PO, we have a couple of options we can do. So both of these options, they will create a purchase document. Those are those documents that have the GRN on them. This first option right here for creating a purchase will do both the financial transaction and a stock transaction, whereas this one right here will only do the stock transactions. It won't show you any cost data. This might be a useful tool to relegate your employees to only look at the cost price and only just receiving the goods. These could be like warehouse employees that you really don't want them to be able to see the cost price. So for this example, I'm just going to create a purchase. Again, this will create a purchase document. You can see up here, it's got a GRN number right there. Now, what I'm going to do is I can add all my items. I could potentially start to scanning the items, and what it'll do is it'll read whatever is on those POs. So if I try to scan in another item that isn't on this PO, it'll give me a message. You also have the ability to hit this Add All Items button. This is also a setting that we can tick on to where it'll automatically plug in all the items that are on the PO into the purchase, so you don't have to click that. But once I do, you would get a list of all of your items that are on that PO. Now, very important, if you guys weren't receiving some of these, like maybe this line item right here, maybe I actually never received any of these load washers. So instead of saying that we're receiving 0, what we'll need to do is come over here to actually remove this from this function that we're doing right now. So this function that we're in is converting that PO, so PO number 108, into this purchase document 93. So what I'm saying in this instance is I'm going to be receiving 5 of those, and maybe for this line item as well, maybe we didn't receive 4 of them. Maybe we actually received 2 of them on this shipment. So I can adjust that right there. And then this section right here is the specify additional expenses button, what I was referring to earlier. So if I want to, I can add some additional expense. In this case, it's a freight charge. So this expense is set up in the settings for your purchase settings, and we can tie in some certain financial accounts to this freight charge. So in my account, I have this tied to a freight expense account and also a freight payable account. So you just need to put in the dollar amount. So maybe this is $50 that were added onto there. Maybe you can add a note. Maybe this was for fuel. And then once we press the OK button, it's going to get added down over here. Now it's up to you if you want to plug in this $50 onto the grand total of this PO by hitting this checkbox right there. And then right now it's increased our grand total of the PO, so of this purchase. So eventually we'll have a bill for our Whirlpool for 48.44.62. Now I referred to our effective rate per unit earlier. If I find my column right there, what I could do is I can take this $50 and aggregate it across all of my items. So it's going to go across the 5 quantity of that, the 5 quantity of that, and the 2 quantity of here. So to do that, I'll just select that checkbox. And now what it's done is it has updated my effective rate per unit for each of my lines there. Once you are ready to complete this, you just need to go down to the bottom and hit that create button. Once you do that, it is going to prompt you to record the serial numbers. So this is a good case to use your scan gun if you have one. So you can start to record the serial numbers off each one of these models. So the way it works is you put your cursor there, and then with your scan gun, you can scan. And once you scan any value in there, it'll move on to the second line down below. Now you could just copy and paste. Maybe you have your purchase as your supplier invoice as an email. So you can just copy the serial number over there and paste them in there. But for this example, I'm just going to generate random numbers. And then once you get all of the serial numbers filled out, you see this little green check mark up there letting you know that you have all the serial numbers there. Now with all my serial numbers added to there, let's say, for example, you made a mistake and you forgot to scan one of them. That's perfectly fine. That will go back down to the exclamation point. If you decided to save this, maybe we misscanned or forgot to go to the other one, and we hit the save button. That's completely fine. It's a common mistake that happens. What you'll need to do in that case is go down into the purchase. So once we converted that PO into a purchase document, you can see it's sitting here, right here. It's for Whirlpool. Now I'm going to go and view the purchase document by clicking into the GRN number. Then from here, I can scroll down a little bit, and I know it was this last item that I forgot to record the serial number for that. So if I go to the context menu, I can see I can assign the serial numbers. If I do this with the other 2 up here, I'm not going to get the assigned serial numbers because I can only view them because I've added all of them for this case. So I should have 5 serial numbers for that if I view it, and there they are. To add the missing serial number, again, this is from the view mode of the purchase, so you don't need to modify your purchase in any way. You can just go down to the line item that you forgot to scan that serial number for, and then you'll see that option to assign the serial number. Then from here, you would just go find the serial number and then scan it in. And once we hit save, that serial number will get assigned to that, basically the item that we forgot. Then from there, you just need to hit the X button, and that serial number is assigned to that. Now, going back up to my PO, there were some items that I neglected, well, that weren't on the truck. So this will create a partially completed PO because we basically, got in a few of those quantities that we still need to get. So to get the rest of those quantities, we just need to go back to the PO and go to the context menu and create another purchase. This creates a second purchase document. So instead of the other one was 93, now we're on 94. It just went up in sequence. So once I hit this add all items button, it's only going to give me those missing items that we didn't put in on the other purchase. So you do the same thing, verify they got the unit prices, add any additional expenses. Maybe this shipment was a little bit less, maybe it was 25 bucks. I'll do the same thing. So right now our grand total is at 820. I'll apply to my grand total, make it at 845, and then I'll do the same thing by applying the effective rate per unit. Now, once I hit that create button, I'm gonna get the same prompt to record my serial numbers. So I'm gonna generate random serial numbers again. Then once I hit save, it'll save this PO. Now there's nothing left of that PO to scan or to convert. So now that my PO status is complete. Now, since I created two different purchase documents from this PO, what you could do is copy the PO number from your purchase orders module and then go down into purchases. And now if we paste in that PO number, we'll get both of those purchase documents that we converted from. Now, whenever you have completed purchases in your account, if you scroll all the way to the right, unless your column is up further to the left, we have something called the payment status column. And this has basically created a bill in AltheaSuite for your supplier, in this case, Whirlpool. So if you go down into make a payments, you'll see both of those purchase documents show up to be able to pay for those. Any questions so far?
Yeah, what if you don't use serial numbers? Like I don't have really serial numbers that are tied to these products.
Got you. Good
Do I
question.
just skip that piece? Do I just randomly fill it out? What do I do?
So if you're creating a PO or any stock back order POs for any furniture, let me show you what that is. I'll just use Fisher Paykel for now. So let me go and grab some furniture. I do have some furniture in my account. I'll just grab a chest. Looks like these are coming from Ashley. I'll go grab a couple things. So maybe I want to order 10 of these. This could be a stock order too.
Hmm.
Now, these items internally in my system, they don't have the attribute flag has serial numbers like those Whirlpool items did. So that attribute flag within the item manager, that will actually let you know if to prompt you to record the serial number. So
Okay.
all, yeah. So really quickly, let me show you that by going into my item manager. And I'll just pop into one of these Whirlpool items. I'm going to put it in the view mode by clicking on the actual SKU. Now, my item definition for this particular dishwasher here is it's set to has serial numbers. So this is an appliance item, so it has serial numbers, it has a manufacturer warranty, and then I have a fixed warranty applied to it. So whenever that item enters a sales invoice or a sales order, it'll prompt me to ask it for a warranty or not.
Hmm.
But for the rest of these items, these are just regular stock items. There isn't any attribute flag really on them unless they're part of groups, which I don't think these are.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you're making your PO2, it's up to you if you did want to put the unit price. You can put your last unit price or what you think the unit price will be once it gets to you.
So on the unit price, it won't fill that in based upon cost of goods. That's you're going to determine that each time you do a purchase order.
So for these ones, this unit price, it's looking at the last purchase price. So if these items have gone through an earlier purchase order that I've put in the system before, it's going to remember the very last price that these came in at.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, let me backtrack to when you're receiving one of these, you have two options, right? The
Hmm.
option was one was the create purchase on the PO, which will generate the bill. What was the other one? The one you said, your warehouse people would use.
Yeah, yeah. So if this was a warehouse guy, I can kind of restrict him access to be able to go into purchases, and you can also restrict the access to how many options he sees in this
Just to
menu.
receive goods, right?
Yeah, yep, is received goods. So if
So
you
if you do the receive goods, it doesn't generate a payment status for that.
it sort of does. It does like a half in between. So let me show you one really quick. So let's say that we're going to receive all goods. I'll receive all 10 of these. So you
Hmm.
can see there's no financial data. There's no cost anywhere. I won't be able to see that anywhere pretty much.
Okay.
So this will be in the point of view of maybe your like warehouse guy, and you don't want him to view any of your costs. So he'll hit that create button. Then that just created it. It didn't prompt me for any serial numbers there. So technically speaking, all of those items went into my stock. Now,
Okay.
what this does is it creates a purchase document, same as the other way, but this purchase document will have a status. Let me just scroll over to the right to see that. It says financial transactions still pending.
Ah, okay.
Yep, yep. So once you get into here, it wants you to go to the context menu off that purchase document and then complete the purchase.
Oh, okay. So you just it adds a step, right?
It
So
has a step.
somebody financial. Okay, got it. That's
Yep.
perfect. So
Yeah, we have.
if I've only done the received goods, then I need to go back and complete that in order for the financial piece of Althea to work correctly.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yep.
I got a little work to do today.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, doing this way, it's not going to add the stock back because you've already received all the goods. It's going to kind of rope in all the finances.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, sir. Good question, though. All right. So a little advanced way, I might as well go into this. We have a module called unload schedules. So this is a little bit more streamlined process to what I just showed you by manually coming over here, going to the context menu and completing purchases that way. If we go down into unload schedules, I have these two POs. One of them is just a regular order, and then I have one that's got like 30 quantity in there. So it's purchase order number 107 there. So it's for Whirlpool as well. So with my PO created in the system, I can hop down into unload schedules. And to start one, you just need to hit that new button up there. So when you come into here, you do need to choose which warehouse that you want these POs to be entered into. And then we can choose our supplier. I'll choose Whirlpool. Now, with the supplier selected, it will show you how many POs that you have against them. So in this case, I have these two right here, but I want to do 107 there. So once I've added 107 to the schedule, I can kind of tell the system when this truck is coming. So maybe this is not coming today. Maybe it's actually coming tomorrow. Maybe it's coming tomorrow at, 9 o'clock. So I can set that time there, or I can use, today's date as the default there. So this is the setting up of the schedule itself. Now to initiate it, we'll first need to save this schedule and have that on there. You see the due date still is staying there. But to continue with this, what we need to do is go to the context menu, and then we have an option to unload the truck. Now, the way this works is once you click into here, you're going to have an SKU field and then an item field. This is a process that we have for a lot of our appliance customers. So what they'll do, they'll have their items in here. This is quite a big PO, so it's going to be like 30 scans on here. But the way it works is you just need to take the item, if you had the item on and had a barcode on it and scan it in, I just did it with my cursor by putting it in the SKU field. As soon as you scan the item in there, it's going to ask you to record the serial number. Now, you do have the option to say, I will add later, and in which case you can go back to the purchase document and do the same thing I showed you earlier by assigning the serial numbers there. Otherwise, you can just scan in the serial number. I'm going to kind of cheat this and just use the model number. Now, this does work with any model numbers. These are coming from Whirlpool that might have a revision number on it. So if I put this SKU up there again, and let's put a space, and maybe this, when I scan this model number into this SKU field, maybe a 03 populated. So once you press enter, it recognizes that you had the SKU in the system, and it's still going to ask you for the serial number there. There we go. So once you start scanning items from this section right here, items to unload, they're going to go into unloaded items. You can see I typed in that model number and it gave me the provision number there. So that's one of our streamlined processes. I won't finish this because it's like 30 items, but this is one of the ways that a lot of our customers are receiving their goods in. They'll just create a schedule for themselves, and then once the truck comes in, they'll kind of stage everything in their back end, and then they'll start having people scan them.
Nate, you can show them also though. Like, so this is a real life scenario, right? You're too busy to complete this. How would they move on?
Yeah, so we can come over here and we can mark all the unloaded completed items and move this schedule. So it's like I only scanned two of them out of the 30 in there. So it's going to move the 28 other items into a new schedule to complete later. The other way I can do this is by simply putting this actually unload schedule on hold if you want to hold it as a placeholder and come back to it later on. But if I decide to do this and click that button, it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to complete this? And it's going to tell me there's going to be 28 more items to be unloaded. And it's going to say yes, which will be fine. Now what that did is it completed that unload schedule, which was number 32, and it moved all those 20 items into another unload schedule, number 33.
I guess the difference is if you're putting it on hold, you're not putting the particular items that you've unloaded into your stock so your people can sell. Whereas if you do it that separate way of clicking that little extra button, you're making it so the ones that you have scanned in, your salespeople are available to see and sell. Where and then it's holding the other 20 until you complete that unload schedule.
So what I'm a little confused on is why would I use that rather than just, clicking on it and, uh, in the very first way that you showed clicking on it and just receiving all items? What's the advantage
Yeah,
to
it's a little bit more streamlined. Again, that's more or less for people who have a lot, either a large staging area to, get this done. A lot of
Mhm.
people, what they'll do is they'll scan as they go as the stuff comes off the truck, and that might not be feasible for this manual type of way. So it's really up to you and your business workflow. If you want to
It
keep it,
just
Hmm?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry, Nate. It's just also a way to combine POs, right? So like you're not individually
Oh,
going
yeah.
into each individual PO to receive them. You're combining them all into one and then receiving them all into one entity.
Yeah, okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
She's cuter than you, Nate, so that's
So to kind of reiterate her point, if we go back to unload schedules and do a new one, I have a fictitious one called Appliance Supply Company, very generic. But on this supplier, I actually have a lot of different POs. So PO 99 can go on here, PO 97 go on here, and so forth. I can basically have all of them added on to this unload schedule. Now, there's a lot of scanning I need to do, but I could potentially scan in all of these POs in sequence instead of going to each one of them, creating a purchase and then scanning it that way, or manipulating your items that way. And this process will kind of lump them all together. So if I decide to save this and try to unload some of them, it's going to be a bunch of items I need to go through. So it's just more or less a quality of life thing, another workflow too.
yeah, okay, thanks.
No problem.
Nate, I think we also, if you have time to go over like a quick purchase return, I think that would be really good to cover within this
Sure.
scenario as well.
Sure. So let's go into my purchases. Let's find a simpler one. It's not enormous.
Mhm.
So I just want to search for my statuses. I'll look at completed purchases. And this could be returned in a couple of different ways. Maybe we got the items and maybe some of them were damaged. Let's take one of my earlier ones, maybe from earlier this month. Look at this KitchenAid one. Hey, this is a simple one. So if you see this item right here, we can go to the context menu. This is the first way we can do this. And right in the context menu from that purchase document, you can create a purchase return there. Once we click into that, it's going to bring us into this new purchase return screen. So the purchase returns document works the same as a sales return document. It's like a reverse document that happens. We do allow you to return without purchases if it's required. If you don't, can't remember the purchase document, but need to return an item to the supplier, you can. We have this field over here. It's not a compulsory field, but if you want to have a reason to get it returned, damaged, or any other kind of reason that you want to add, if you want to add a reason, simply cross out the X and then hit that plus button, and that'll allow you to add a reason there. So I'll just put damage for now. Then on here, you can see you have one available in stock, obviously, because we purchased it before. Sometimes maybe you have sold this item, so in that case, it'll be 0 on there. So if you did do a purchase return, this might put this into negative in your warehouse. You do have both a restocking and service fee over here. So if you want to add those in, if you can, maybe 25 there and 25 there. So this will be the total that gets returned. It's up to you on how you want to give this back to the supplier, either through an ACH, that's very common, or a lot of people what they'll do is put it on the supplier account, and this will be on the supplier as a credit, basically. So I can hit that black arrow or the black button with the white arrow in it. And that'll move that penny amount over there and simply hit that create. Or if you hit that create and print, it gives you a copy of your purchase return there. We'll ask you to record the serial number that you're trying to return. That way the stock will be accurate. don't have a serial number, so maybe I skipped that part before. And there's a simple just purchase return that we have.
Beautiful. Also, if you guys saw that there was also a supplier credit note payment mode, you can also create that supplier credit note directly from that purchase return instead of having to do them separately if you guys would like. Just another fun thing about that. But I think we're kind of wrapping up here on our allotted time. So if there's any more questions, please feel free to shout them out. If not, then I think we will end this training for today.
Yeah, I had a quick question just because I saw it on your tab there. When you're receiving in, does it generate a QLN for the items that you're receiving in?
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't cover that because it's a little bit more complex.
Yeah,
We
I
might
figured that was
have
going to be its own thing, but I saw it on your tab, so I thought I'd get a
yeah,
quick
yeah.
ask.
Yeah, this is my sandbox account, so I do have this. I don't currently have it enabled to record there. I might have a few items that have QLNs, but yeah, it will generate the QLN. I will go ahead and show you that really quickly. I have a section, I believe it's in the settings to where we can set our QLN. So
Nice.
if I did have it enabled, here's my next sequence of my QLN. So all of those purchase items that could have been, they could have been 1082, 1083, and so on.
And
You
so
can,
on. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And you can
Yeah.
see that setting of like generate
And
QLN
since
at
you're in that settings
the
tab as well, as
time
like
of
I
the
had asked Deepa a couple of weeks ago, um, to see if I could have my PO numbers like generate off of a certain um I don't know the right word, but like just a certain
Sequence?
thank you. Yeah, so like just because we usually use like a vendor code and
Mhm.
the date and then how many POs I've made that day.
Yeah, there is a caveat for that. I don't think we can do at the current time, we don't do the dates within the sequence.
Okay.
But if you go into code format is where all the sequences are.
Ah, gotcha.
And then you just need to choose which document you want to do. So for
Okay, okay.
example,
I
sales
just didn't know
invoice.
where it was. I mean, she told me yes, and I was just like, I don't see a setting, but y'all have like so many settings to play with. So,
Yeah, it's called code format. Yeah. Yeah, just
okay.
searching whatever document you're trying to do. This could be sales invoices, purchase orders, purchase documents, those types of things.
Nice.
Yes, sir.
even employees. Yeah, you could really get into this if you wanted
Yeah, I
to.
was gonna
Yeah.
say it's a lot to look into, but on the
Mm.
purchasing side, it saves me so much time if it auto generates a PO number for me and it's in the right sequence and stuff. So if I can set that up appropriately ahead of time, that'd
So
be
what's cool about the POs and the purchase documents is we can backspace all of that and we can actually use the supplier. This is using, it's called SUP. In
yep.
there, it's using the supplier prefix
Sure.
that's on the supplier
Yeah.
themselves.
Gotcha.
So if this was Whirlpool, you can use Whirlpool sequence. And for that, let me go and kind of wrap it up. It's this one right here, the document code prefix. So on the PO, we could use the document code prefix. That way your POs will be nice and lined.
Oh, nice. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's kind of exactly how I thought, but I hadn't gotten there in the actual system yet. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. It will start to click together.
perfect. Thank you.
Alrighty. Yeah, no problem. Well, thank you guys for joining today's training. If there's any other questions.
I'm tapped out.
Okay, great. As per usual, this was recorded. It will be on our website shortly after we do this. Hopefully you guys already have the link to the rest of the recordings if you want to take a look at those. Otherwise, if you have any other questions or any sort of niche questions that only, are for your
Cameron,
business.
what is the link to where these recordings are?
Yeah, that's what I was
Absolutely.
going to ask as well.
Okay, give me 1 second. I will put it in the chat for you guys.
Nice.
So this is where they're going to reside. My office manager is usually pretty quick with these. So by the end of the day, though, at least this recording should be up there for you guys. And then we have all previous webinars on that particular link every week.
Nice. There it is. Okay, perfect. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for coming, and we hope to see you next week. You guys will receive that usual email on what topic we're going to cover. But thank you guys so much, and we will go ahead and end this meeting.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, take care.